fiscal con beneficios tributarios para expats que deciden mudarse a Portugal. Se llama Non-Habitual Resident, pero como no todo es blanco y negro, tiene toda una matices de áreas grises con muchos signos de interrogación que la verdad ni nosotros a veces sabemos responder. Así que una vez más decidimos ir donde la abogada Raquel Torres para hacer una entrevista y que nos ayude a aclarar todas estas preguntas que tenemos en la cabeza. Hello my friend, ¿cómo están? Bienvenidos a un video más aquí en Bermesi. Esta vez vamos a hablar del programa de beneficio tributario que se llama Non-Habitual Resident y decidimos una vez más venir hacia un consejo más profesional con nuestra amiga abogada Raquel. Para los que miren el video por primera vez, Raquel es de Portugal. Mi portugués no es tan perfecto todavía para entrar a este tipo de conversaciones, así que lo vamos a hacer en inglés, pero abajo va a estar la traducción en español en el subtítulo. Hello Raquel, how are you? Thank you so much for this interview again.
Nice to have you here again, Jen.
Well, the first question, what is the non-habitual resident regime in Portugal?
It's a special tax regime. This regime was created to attract three kind of people. High qualified professionals that want to come to Portugal and live here. Can be architects, doctors, teachers, lawyers. You can find this information in the IRS code. Retired foreigners and nationals that want to return to Portugal and hasn't been here for the last 5 years.
It's a regimen that gives you benefit with taxes, right?
Yes. There are 3 types of incomes. Incomes gained in Portugal, incomes gained outside of Portugal, and the retired people. In the first case, the incomes that you gain in Portugal, you can pay only 20% of tax. To have an idea, a normal Portuguese citizen that lives in here pay between 40 to 48% of taxes of their income. Incomes gained outside of Portugal, you can choose if you want to pay here or if you want to pay in the country where do you receive that incomes.
And the retired people?
The retired people has the possibility as well to pay their taxes in their countries or pay 10% in Portugal. There is a big difference for the Portuguese people that lives here.
How long does it last?
It lasts 10 years and cannot be extended.
Okay, and in these 10 years, do you have to do any paperwork or something that you have to do to renew the regimen?
You don't need to renew, okay? You just need to declare every year your incomes in Portugal. And when you fill your income declaration in Portugal, you need to choose the option of the non-habitual resident in Portugal.
Okay, and how is the process?
It's very simple. You need your ID, a proof of your address in here in Portugal. And if you want to work here, if you are the qualified professional that this regime wants to attract to the country, you need to prove your relation with the company or the work that you want to develop in here.
With a contract?
As a contract, for example.
Is there any special date that you have to apply?
As soon as you have your fiscal address in Portugal, you have until 31st of March of the next year to apply for the special regime.
So if I got my fiscal address in April, I have the chance to do the process until the last day of March from the next year.
Last day, it's the 31st of March of the next year.
And you can do it before?
Yes, you can do before. You just cannot do after that date.
And what happens if you don't do it on time?
You will not be able to apply for the special regime.
Never and never.
Unless if you leave Portugal and come back 5 years later.
That's good to know. I didn't know that. Okay. You were saying since you got your fiscal address, right? So some people can buy a house, but other people can rent an apartment, right? Most of the time to get your fiscal address, the government says you need to have like 1 year contract rental.
The Portuguese government wants to check if you want to really live in Portugal. You really want to live here? Okay, you need to prove that as a rental contract, as buying property, or with the rental receipts that prove that you are living in Portugal.
And for example, digital nomads. Most of the digital nomads, they like to travel around. A lot of them, they want to have Portugal as their base. So maybe they live here for 6 months, 8 months, then they travel around for another 4 months, and they're coming back, but they're renting. How does it work for them?
There is no problem with renting. You can only renting. It's also able to apply for the special regime.
If they are changing address like 2 times per year,
Yes, you can change your address. No problem about it.
just with the receipt that they got from the renting, that's
You
it.
just need to prove that you are living in the country.
So for the digital nomads that like to travel around, you still can apply to the non-habitual resident and still being able to travel around. You just need to update your new address to the fiscal authorities.
You need to communicate that.
And that's it. There's no biggie, no problem. What kind of incomes are not taxed under this non-habitual resident program?
Incomes from outside of Portugal. For the incomes gained outside of Portugal, the person can choose if they want to pay the taxes in here, in Portugal, or outside of Portugal, in their country, and the retired people as well. But for these cases of retired foreigners, they have to prove they are paying in another country. Until 2020 was not like that, because in some countries, the law says you need to pay your taxes in the country where you live. But Portugal gave the opportunity to pay in their countries. Okay, so in these cases, the person doesn't pay in Portugal and doesn't pay in their country, so doesn't pay anything, and it's not fair. And that's why the law changed in 2020.
So there was like a gap, like in between. Some people just didn't pay any country.
Anywhere.
Okay, what are the consequences if we cancel the non-habitual resident? I mean, can we do it?
To cancel the regime, you just need to change your fiscal address for another country. In that cases, if you have incomes gained in Portugal, you will be taxed like a regular citizen in Portugal.
Full taxes,
Full taxes.
depending of your incomes, right?
Yes, depending of the amount and the type of your incomes gained in Portugal.
Okay, Raquel, this is a lot of information we didn't know. So before we finish the interview, because I think it's a really important subject that you do need to understand a lot to don't make any mistake, can you give the people any advice or any extra comment about this non-habitual resident issue, subject, program?
If you are planning to apply for this special regime, you need to be aware of the law changes, and probably it's better to get a legal advice.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Raquel, for all this information. I think we have a lot of doubts and questions, and we want to apply to this kind of regimen. One more time, we do appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Feel free to reach me if you have any doubts.
Well, now you know, guys, I'm going to leave all Raquel details on the description so you can reach them. Voy a dejar toda la información de Raquel una vez más en la descripción para que la puedan contactar. Siéntanse libres de cualquier duda que tengan. Ella misma es. Muchas gracias por vernos. Nos vemos a la próxima. Obrigada. Gracias. Chao.